My name is Mary 945 and this is Clive 770, and between us we've been Samaritans for 78 years. Small talk saves lives was a recent Samaritans publicity campaign encouraging everyone to take notice of their neighbours, and if you see a stranger or a friend looking not quite right, to try saying, "Are you all right?" Don't say, "How are you?" because conventional society manners prompts people to say, "I'm fine," when they might be at death's door, and immediately you, the listener, are on the wrong path. Between us, we will share with you some key features of the Samaritan approach to this very important topic. Are Samaritans trained?
There's 12 3-hour weekly sessions, followed by 7 weeks of practice calls with another experienced Samaritan playing the part of the caller. After that, several weeks of supervised real calls. Oh, and there's compulsory ongoing training every year on skills and developments.
How can I be sure that whatever I tell you won't be shared with anyone else?
Applicants to be a Samaritan won't be accepted if there's any doubt about their solid acceptance of the rule that everything is confidential to the Samaritans, which actually means that sometimes a call is so distressing we might need to talk it over with another Samaritan. You might like to think about what you'd do in a church context in those circumstances. Who would you go to?
So, is confidentiality absolute?
No. It's the law now that if we realise that a vulnerable person, such as a child or someone with dementia who can't make decisions for themselves, if they're in danger of harm and we know who and where they are, we must tell them that we're obliged to contact someone about possible intervention. In fact, unless they tell us, we never know who callers are, because calls come in from anywhere in the country and it's impossible to trace them. Mentioning intervention reminds me of the #1 Samaritan principle, which might surprise you. We never try to persuade anybody not to end their own life. Everybody has the right to self-determination, and we accept callers' decisions. If we reject them or fail to take them seriously, we're in effect closing the door on perhaps the last avenue of support because we're not truly listening.
How do you maintain a caller's trust in you?
We're forbidden to judge people for where they are. They might be a drug addict, a paedophile, whatever. And this is particularly important with face-to-face visitor to the centre, who'll be watching for reactions and body language. Samaritans were forbidden right from the beginning by our founder, who was a Church of England vicar called Chad Vara, to proselytise or suggest any other course of action a caller might take. We do not know what's best for them. Even in a church context, you might like to think about someone being so bitter or angry about churchy things that the last thing they want to hear is advice that they try prayer or turning to Jesus. I don't know how to listen. I'm anxious about not knowing what to say.
There's an old saying in Samaritans, don't just do something, stand there. We often use silences deliberately to give the caller time to put feeling into words, and never say, "I know how you feel." Oh, no, you don't. Nor say, "If I were you," because you're not. And you can't feel what they feel, nor know all the circumstances of their life. Don't tell them what you've been through. It's not about you. Even if a Samaritan is an expert in some field, the law, medicine perhaps, and knows exactly what the caller ought to do with the problem, it's still absolutely wrong to make suggestions or give advice. The caller has probably heard all that and is ringing Samaritans for a different kind of support.
What if the conversation seems to be going on for hours?
If you feel the time has come to stop, for example, you seem to be going round in circles, or you're feeling emotionally drained, there's nothing wrong in suggesting taking a break, but consider offering another opportunity to talk. However, Do be aware of letting a dependency develop. There's a world of difference between support in a crisis and forming a never-ending attachment, and that's probably particularly important in a church.
What if the person I'm talking to says something like, "There's nothing left for me, there's no way out"?
Don't ignore the hint at suicidal feelings. Listen out for them. Explore what they mean. Samaritans try to explore the possibility of suicidal thoughts in every contact. Of course, not every caller is suicidal. There's lots of reasons why people call us. So don't use euphemisms like doing something silly. Suicide isn't silly and must never be rejected or pushed aside or ignored. It's terrifying to hear somebody talking about killing themselves, but be brave. Just as Samaritans support each other, you might like to think what backup you've got in the church. And there's always the Samaritan 24-hour free phone number, 116 123.